Winnie the Pooh, an adaptation by Peter Darnes and Leon Mitchell. It's morning, and down the stairs comes Christopher Robin. As he does every morning, he stops on the 6th step to rub the sleepiness from his tired eyes. He is holding his favourite toy, Winnie the Pooh, by one leg. As he continues down the stairs, Pooh's head goes bump, bump, bump on each step. It is, as far as Pooh knows, the only way of coming down the stairs, but sometimes he feels that there might be a better way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment to think about it. And then again, he feels perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom, and ready for another adventure. Pooh Bear likes adventures. They are almost his favourite thing. But honey, now that's his real favourite. Christopher Robin opens his book and reads.
Once upon a time, a very long time ago, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in a forest all by himself, under the name of Sanders. Pooh, what does under the name of Sanders mean?
Winnie the Pooh explains.
Well, it means that there was a sign over the door written in gold letters that said Sanders, and I lived under it.
Winnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, but there was a sign that said Sanders above the door, and so, as far as he was concerned, that was that. One day, when Pooh was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and in the middle of that was a large oak tree. From the top of the tree there came a buzzing sound. Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws, and began to think to himself.
That buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing, without it meaning something.
He thought for another long time and said,
If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise, and the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee. And the only reason for being a bee that I know of is making honey.
Then he stood up and said,
And the only reason for making honey, as far as I know of, is so that I can eat it.
With that, he began to climb the tree. Pooh climbed and climbed, and as he climbed, he sang a little song to himself. It went like this.
Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, 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 I wonder why he does. Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, 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 I wonder why he does.
Then he climbed a little further, and a little further, and then just a little further.
If bears were bees, they'd build their nest at the bottom of trees.
He was getting very tired, but he was nearly there now. He stood on the nearest branch and reached out with his paw. Crack went the branch.
Help!
The branch broke, and Pooh dropped 10 feet to the branch below, which also went crack. He bounced 20 feet to the next branch. He turned head over heels and crashed into another branch 30 feet below.
You see what I meant to do? Ouch! It all comes, I suppose, from liking honey so much,
he said as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. He spun round 3 times and then fell gracefully into a gorse bush. He crawled out of the gorse bush, pulled the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. The first person he thought of was, yes, Christopher Robin. So Winnie the Pooh dusted himself down and set off to see his friend Christopher Robin, who lived in a house next to the forest. Pooh knocked on the door, and the door opened.
Good morning, Pooh.
Good morning, Christopher Robin. I wonder if you've got such a thing as a balloon.
A balloon?
Yes, I just said to myself coming along, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon. I just said that to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering.
What do you want a balloon for?
Winnie the Pooh looked round to see that nobody was listening. put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper,
"Honey."
But you don't get honey with balloons.
Pooh leaned forward and whispered proudly,
"I do."
Well, Pooh, it just so happens that I went to a party yesterday. At the party there were balloons, and I brought 2 home, a green one and a blue one. Which one would you like?
Pooh put his head between his paws and thought very carefully.
Well, it's like this. When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you were only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you are only part of the sky and not notice you. So the question is, which is the most likely?
Wouldn't they notice you hanging underneath the balloon?
They might, or they might not. You never can tell with bees. I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them.
Then you better have the blue balloon.
And so it was decided, and both set off back to the oak tree together.